My name is Joe Russo. I am the CEO of the Palm Beach Tech Association, and welcome to another South Florida Tech Talk. If you've not seen this before, either online, I feel like we've been doing these online all year at this point. We usually do them in person throughout South Florida. So in Palm Beach Gardens, West Palm Beach, Boca Raton, and Fort Lauderdale, we have done them in person over a number of years. And obviously with COVID, we've taken them online. And so pro-con, we've been able to have some really awesome talks. It would be great to get together in person, but we are in the place we are right now. So for those that have not seen before, this is a short 15-minute talk with question and answers. We take all of the content from South Florida technology companies. So with that, I also want to point out that all of our events and all of our speakers are also guided by our community creed, which states that we are here to create a welcome and inclusive community for all. You can go to our website at palmbeachtech.org to learn more about us, learn more about these events, and keep track of some of the upcoming things that we're doing. But with that, I really am excited to present our speakers this evening. They are from the Peak Activity, which is a technology company that they'll explain and share a little bit more about down here in Boynton Beach, Florida. They work with a lot of really amazing brands that people know throughout the world, but their topic today is going to be on the reality of augmented reality. And we have Rob and Rob. We got the Robs joining us here today, who are going to, if you guys want to introduce yourself and introduce Peak as best as you can, but thank you guys for joining. Really interesting topic. So excited to hear where it goes.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having us, obviously. I'll share a screen. We'll talk a little bit about ourselves and Peak Activity, so everyone's on the same page, and we'll dive into a little bit about us and us overall. So I'm going to share screen and present this right now. Hopefully everyone can see that just fantastically. So we wanted to talk about a couple different aspects of AR, just business application and technical infrastructure. Augmented reality is a huge hot topic right now, and Peak Activity understands, both from the emerging tech and innovation side, that it's going to be affecting a lot of businesses. Peak Activity, we're a technology and marketing consultancy focused on helping businesses achieve long-term profitable and scalable growth. That's basically being able to deliver insights, really strong talent, and game-changing technology to innovate really interesting solutions for companies. And like Joe said, we have national customers all across the US that we work with, large and small. So really exciting, both on the technical and the marketing aspect. I'll talk about myself, and then I'll kick it over to Robert to talk about himself. I'm Rob Petrosino. I'm the VP of Innovation over at Peak Activity. My role is running the emerging tech and innovation side from the business end of things. I've always been focused on innovation and emerging technology throughout my career, from digital strategy many moons ago all the way to my current role at Peak for the last 2 years. Super passionate about AR, spatial computing, and mixed reality, which is a fantastic space to be in, like I said. But Robert, I'll kick it over to you to do your intro.
Sure. My name is Robert Gallione. I'm the lead technical architect at Peak Activity. I handle really everything to do with tech. I usually touch something with it at Peak. I started doing software engineering when I was very young, and it's just my passion. So I love what we do at Peak Activity. We do a lot of really cool stuff, and I'm excited to share with you guys a lot of the cool stuff we're doing today.
So the way we'll approach this today is I'm going to take on some of the business end of things, and then Robert's going to take on some of the technical ends, and then we'll circle back and do some Q&A. First things first, what really is augmented reality? When we look at Microsoft did a really good job talking about the mixed reality spectrum. Augmented reality is the left-hand side, where we're augmenting the physical world, while the right-hand side is fully immersive reality in a digital world. So our goal and our purpose at Peak Activity is to focus right at the middle point. So what environment and what is happening in the physical world and how we can augment that with 3D objects and interactivity to create a really immersive and expansive spatial computing experience. So that's what we're focusing on overall. Think augmented reality on the low end is heads up displays for vehicles, where on virtual reality, the far end is fully immersive virtual haptic suits and headsets where you can be transported to Mars. That's kind of the spectrum in a nutshell. We took a look at 3 specific areas for market shifts overall, and how those market shifts are really focused on both mixed reality and augmented reality. So when we look at retail and marketing, we lump these two together because they go hand in hand. We've seen some really incredible experiences related to trying on clothes before you buy, see before you buy as far as products. Allowing some level of interactivity while shopping is hugely beneficial. There's a ton of different case studies out there that are showing really high interaction rate and then a higher conversion rate, as well as a level of social sharing. So using social media platforms like Instagram or Snapchat, there is a heavy focus on augmentation of reality, as well as creating these aspects of selling. Both interior, exterior, it doesn't matter if you're shopping for a watch like we've seen or a new couch, there's a different player in every market to allow you to try or see before you buy these different products. The next area that we looked at was healthcare overall. Healthcare can be really broken out into 3 different areas: training, treatment, and then prep for procedures or surgical prep. On training, there's a lot of proficiency boosts when working with medical devices through simulation. Understanding without being in the same room as the device can be very, very beneficial. If we're working on very high cost materials or high cost machinery, it's good to work through simulation or augmented simulations to get exactly what you need. For treatment, we've seen a ton of different things related to overlaying on veins or correctly placing needles for injections, or even down to where muscles lay underneath the skin layer. Augmented reality is really allowing treatment in a new way where you can virtually treat patients without actually seeing them face to face. As far as surgical prep, the same type of aspects that you've seen before, from prepping and training for the very high risk surgery without having to put someone's life on the line, as well as reducing the overall surgery and cost because of the efficiencies that can be required. We've also seen across all of these within healthcare is what we call guided assistance. So augmented reality allows you to actually communicate with someone who's not in the same room and have them see exactly what you're doing at the same time, and allow you to get some information on how to better perform a potential procedure. The last one we looked at is kind of all encompassing when it comes to education. We know that the global pandemic that we're going through, like Joe alluded to, has caused everything to go virtual. So we've seen some immersive learning that is actually at a little bit higher of a cost within that space. So if we can, really focus on reducing hazards of on-site training or creating immersive experiences, we actually see an increased level of knowledge retention through these after these AR experiences are completed, as well as a reduction in cognitive load, which means that you can understand and know what you went through that AR experience for a longer period of time, as well as train or learn for a longer period of time, because the cognitive load is actually less than you sitting down and studying directly from a book or just a video. So that interactivity is really driving across these 3 areas. And we know that the market shifts there are going to keep shifting towards augmented reality. And we're all prepared for it. We've created some really interesting tools across the board. So it's pretty exciting to see what's out there within this space. With that said, I think we'll pitch it over to Rob. He'll give me some cues to scroll through here, but he's going to talk about 3D AR applications for the web.
Sure. So what we put together here is basically what we would do when a client comes to us and they say that they need augmented reality abilities on their website. So for example, a furniture store needs the ability to have, their couch to be in an AR web app where they can actually put that couch in their a user could put that couch in their space and see how it would look. So something like that with web, there's a lot of challenges. Um, AR is typically a lot more easier to put into a mobile app, but on the web it can be difficult. So what we do to combat that is there's a lot of great tools. But the biggest thing here would be the formats of the actual models. With AR, you're going to need 3D models. So once you have that models, is making sure they're the right format. And then also, if you need one-to-one dimensions, that's a pretty difficult task too. So if you need to make sure that if you have a 3D model of a couch, that it matches up to the exact dimensions of the couch in real life, that is a daunting task, but we've accomplished that, and I'll share a little bit of insight with that today. The third thing is storing your AR models. You need to store them in a reliable and high availability place. There's some great tools for that. Serving your AR models, you'll want to make sure you're serving it from a high performance CDN, somewhere you can enable some compression and some caching, which is always good. And then also the last piece would be actually implementing the AR ability into your web application, existing or new application. It's either or. If you could switch slides, Rob. Perfect. So the first step to building a web AR application would be to convert your 3D models to AR supported formats. So when you're working on the web, it's difficult to work with the standard 3D model files such as OBJ, model formats like those. You really need USDZ files. That stands for Universal Scene Description. It's just a format that Apple actually put together. But the best tools that we've found on the market to do so have been Sketchfab and Vectory. Sketchfab has a great API, so if you're trying to automate the process of, let's say you have a 3D model upload system like a DAM, and you're trying to upload and then automatically convert it into a AR format such as USDZ, you can actually use Sketchfab's API to do that if you build out that process. And then with both tools, through their UI or through the API Sketchfab, you can achieve one-to-one scaling of dimensions. Sketchfab is actually pretty neat where you can actually just enter the exact dimensions in units such as inches, centimeters, feet, and it will actually match it up for you in scale, which is really, really cool. Vectory also has similar functionality, but not as well featured as Sketchfab. If you could switch slides. Thank you. So storing your AR models, the best place to store them is usually in the cloud if you can. If you can't, you can use a network file storage or any sort of available storage that you have, maybe if you're on-prem. But the great solutions for this are S3 from AWS, GCP Cloud Bucket if you're on Google Cloud, and if you're on Azure, you can leverage blob storage. They're all very good high availability storage solutions, and they're very cost effective, and they're always reliable. Next one. Thank you. So with AR models, you'll definitely want to use a CDN. Reason being is they can be very heavy files. They're definitely, we've had files from 10, 20 megabytes. We can get them down with a CDN with the right compression, such as gzip. We can get them down to 3 to 5 megabytes, which is a lot easier for a network to handle than 10 to 20 megabytes. So the greatest tools here that we've found, it depends on what cloud you're on. If you're already on a cloud, or you can use a non-cloud based tool, CDN. But AWS CloudFront if you're on AWS, GCP Cloud CDN if you're on Google Cloud, Azure CDN if you're on Azure, DigitalOcean CDN if you're on DigitalOcean, and then there's also other third-party solutions like Fastly. These all work just great. It's really good to go. Which, if you're already on the cloud, and for example, you're already on S3, you might as well just use CloudFront. But you can switch it up a bit if you have different reasons. They all have different functionality, but overall, we're trying to achieve the same goal with each of them. So um, they all work pretty the same in this case. If you could switch it, Rob. Thank you. And then actually implementing the model viewer into your web application. So the way that we do it is with something called Model Viewer. It's built by Google. It's a great solution. It's open source. They're working on it actively. But building it into your application, you can layer it in. You need to integrate it with your application. I put up a standard diagram here in this slide. It's very, very simple. In a lot of our clients' applications, it'll be way more complicated than this. But this is if you have no database layer, no backend layer, anything like that. This is simply if you're building a simple application that just needs to connect to a 3D model, AR model file in the cloud. So you would layer your model viewer, which is just a JavaScript modal. You can put it in if you have a React application, or just a vanilla JavaScript application works fine too. All you do is you just import it in through npm, or if you're using vanilla JavaScript, you can actually just import it in through a script tag. And then once you've done that, you just initialize it, and you just put whatever div you want to put it in. You can just enable that and specify that, and it'll go right into the application. And from there, you just have to specify what AR model file you want it to load. It also has 3D model functionality as well. So if you're building something like a configurator or something like that, it's a great tool as well. But that's the overall general architecture of it on how we would build a AR-based platform for the web. This is very simple, but it can be expanded upon. And that's it.
Yeah. So I know that was a lot of information to run through.
It's all good.
But we're super passionate about AR as a viable solution for a lot of different customers out there, no matter what their scale is.
Yeah, so with that, for those who are watching online right now, if you're on Facebook or LinkedIn, feel free to type in the comment section any questions you have, and we'll ask those to the Robs. I really do want to, start off the conversation with you guys though, and see what's an example, maybe not for peak activity, but something that people are starting to interact with at a large scale with augmented reality. Like, I feel like a lot of people get introduced over time to new technologies without even really knowing that they're new. And then you're like, oh, that's what that thing is, at least to my parents, maybe. But maybe you can kind of like talk a little bit about how, the social norms are trending towards that.
I have a good one, Rob, if you want
Rob,
me to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know that one.
I was just going to say, if you have any modern car, such as if you have like a BMW, a Mercedes, I know BMW in particular, anything past 2018, their camera system, it has, if you go into there, you have a AR viewer actually, where you get to see a 3D model of the car, and you can rotate around it and see. It basically creates the 3D model in the augmented reality view, where you can actually go around the car through your infotainment system. And I think a lot of people don't even realize that that's AR, but that's been there for a while now, and it's a really great implementation. There's stuff like that everywhere. And then, for example, I was just on Best Buy buying a new TV the other day, and you can actually pull it up through the app. If you have the app, you can pull it up and you can put it on your wall and see how big it is, see how it fits. Really, really great stuff. So it's starting to get more prominent.
Yeah, and for different generations, if people are a little bit younger, Snapchat is probably one of the biggest augmented reality interactive social channels that are out there. They're constantly releasing tools, filters, etc. Every time you filter your face or add some augmented hat or beard or scarf or sunglasses, that's in the theory augmented reality. You're actually adapting what your appearance is through AR.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people look at Snapchat as augmented reality. I think they look at it as that silly social media tool all the kids use these days. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So we had a couple questions online. First of all, Jessica is got a question for Rob G. What resources would you recommend to someone with software and web development experience to reference or learn more about augmented reality or mixed media reality?
Sure. So that's a great question. I would definitely take a look at AR Kit and AR Core. AR Kit is the solution for Apple. It's their SDK for AR, basically. Same with for Android, it's AR Core. Those SDKs will allow you to build great AR solutions. And if you learn just general mobile development, you can learn those very quickly. A great resource to learn all that would be udemy.com. There's some great courses on there for all of this. You can just search it up and you'll find some great stuff.
Okay, and we got another question here from Andy Perry from Office Depot, who's one of our board members. Hey, Andy. And he's asking, where are the tech companies on general availability of lightweight AR glasses for the masses? So I think he's thinking a little bit of Magic Leap and a little bit of, oh gosh, that Microsoft product again. But yeah, yes, that one.
Yes. Yeah, I'm happy to take this one. I'm super excited. So we saw the biggest introduction a couple of years ago with Google Glass. And it was kind of like a dud. Hit the market, wasn't really sure how the adoption was going to go. But if we look at it overall, probably the biggest player, the one that's causing the most buzz right now, is obviously Magic Leap and their business shifts and their model that they're going to, but also Apple. Apple's filed some patents, is doing some really interesting things with interchangeability between the lens front and the side arms for different utilities. So if you were going to do a sporting event, you would have a different set of arms on your lenses versus if you were doing, deep data dives of your analytics and traffic to your website. So there's definitely players that are moving. We've actually also had conversations with people that are working on augmented reality contact lenses. So right now there's a lot of different players that are out there. Yes, contact lenses, super scary, kind of interesting when you think of like field of view of glasses versus a contact. But yeah, there's definitely some really interesting players out there. But yeah, Magic Leap, HoloLens, and Apple going to be entrancing the market. My prediction, before year end. I'm just saying. That's me though.
It's ambitious.
And with that, there was a couple comments about education I saw in here about really maybe where the K-12 and the higher education space is with a lot of this in AR. I don't know if you guys have any experience or knowledge of that, but where are some of the educational institutions falling in line with this technology, and do they have the resources to start teaching it?
Yeah, so what's great is Peak Activity has been able to partner with a couple different South Florida universities and school districts related to augmented reality overall. They range from West Palm Beach all the way down to Miami. So we have actively created curriculum for computer science as well as other divisions to help have them develop their own tools that'll be served for augmented reality. There is a big push for augmented reality, especially with the switch to virtual learning as being primary and the benefits of like cognitive load, like we talked about. As far as resources, it's taking the years and years of curriculum and then porting it over into an AR experience where there's going to just need to be a lot of hands on deck to get that. An average, history teacher may not fully understand Unity and all the other required skill sets to get things live. So creating simple tools that they can use to create these experiences is going to be key.
Yeah, and I've seen some really neat things done with Unity as well. I know, the Tech Garage folks down in Boca Raton have done a good amount with teaching Unity in their programs. But if you were to give one recommendation out, if you want to learn more, or you want to maybe learn how to start into some of the augmented reality places. I know you mentioned Udemy, but where's one place that you could go to learn more?
So, like you said, Unity, I didn't bring that one up. I should have. That's a great game engine. It's being adapted for more uses now. And for AR, it's just fantastic. It's a great experience. It's actually if you want to build applications for Magic Leap, working with Unity is really great because it ties directly into their SDK and it's fantastic. To learn Unity, there's actually great resources directly on unity.com. They have free tools, free resources, and actually one of them links back to Udemy. It's a whole dive-in guide on how to get started, how to get going with AR applications in Unity. You can learn also C# if you want to get into more of the programming side of things with Unity. It uses C#, or you can use JavaScript. My personal flavor, C# with Unity, but there's a lot of great tools directly on their website.
Cool. And two more quick things. One is Peak Activity currently hiring?
Yes.
All right.
So over the last, since the global pandemic, we've increased employees by 30, and we're about 130 strong. So pretty significant lift there. So yes, if you are looking for employment or are interested in emerging tech, definitely reach out. Available. Happy to help.
For sure. Yep.
All right. So James on the chat, reach out to the Robs here. On top of that, Todd Albert from Boca Code is also mentioning they have some game development courses with Unity and AR. So check out Boca Code. And thank you both. We're just at about time here, but that was very thorough, very concise overview. I appreciate you guys spending some time with us on it all. And I appreciate everything you guys have done at Peak Activity for our community. So thanks for hopping on.
Absolutely. Glad we can help.
Yeah. Have a good one. Thanks, guys.
Have a good
Thank
weekend,
you.
everyone. Have a good week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.